My name is Erica Huerta. I am a detective for the state of Florida. I am a mother of 2 children.
My name is Monica Castro. I'm a therapist and I have 2 children.
My name is Mari Espinoza, and I'm a group fitness instructor and a single mom to 4 kids.
My name is Jennifer Holder. I have been teaching for over 15 years.
My name is Barbie Paz. I am a mother of 2. I am in the banking industry and as a compliance officer.
My name is Lais, and I've been competing for 2 years. I have done 4 different fitness competitions.
My name is Brianna Moret. I'm 17 years old, and I am about to compete in my 2nd fitness competition.
I have done 3 fitness competitions in total, 2 with the WBFF and 1 with MPC. Between the 3 shows, I did my first one about 10 years ago, and then I did the other 2 last year. When I decided 10 years later, which is present time, to do another fitness competition, I was ready for a new challenge. I was kind of scared to do it because my experience the first time around wasn't very good. The dieting was not conducive to my lifestyle. I got too skinny and it created just a whole bunch of problems for me. And so I was always scared to go back on stage. And so I decided, at that point I had said I would never do one. But now that I'm older and more mature, I said, you know what, I'm ready for this challenge. And I put myself in that situation. I had seen some of Ralph's past testimonies with other people, and I saw what his wife looked like. So I said, you know what, if she can look like that, I think he can make me look like that too.
Well, I had seen a friend of mine who had gone through the journey, and it's someone that I knew, and to see her amazing results, I was like, hey, this is somebody real, somebody I know, a real person that I know. If she could do it, I probably could do it.
I had seen other people do it, not necessarily the WBFF, it was new to me, completely new to me, but obviously like bodybuilding competitions. As a fitness instructor, I've heard about it, of course, but I didn't think I would ever do it myself, so.
In terms of the competition and thinking about it, I really seriously started to consider it last January when a really good friend of mine went through the process with Ralph and Lais, and it seemed to be a really great experience and a really great opportunity.
Part of my decision to start this journey was about a year ago. I had someone ask me who I was, and I'm a mom, I have a career, and I'm a wife, and they looked at me and they said, that's not who you are. And so I started a journey, and I started with the physical part, and here I am a year later.
I decided to start competing a couple of years ago. I've been working out for a while, but I wasn't really watching my nutrition, and I wasn't really changing the way that I wanted to physically. So I got inspired on Instagram, like a lot of people do, and I found the WBFF, which was a federation that was very different from anything that I had seen before. The looks on the girls were a lot more feminine and a lot more full, like they were curvy, and they had a really nice just overall look to them. So I was like, oh my gosh, like what is this? I've been looking for a goal. I've been looking to take my physique to the next level, and this seems like this is it. So we started that process.
For my whole life, I was surrounded by, fitness and healthy lifestyle and working out, being at the gym, and coming upon my 17th birthday, my dad and coach was like, I think it would be really good for you to compete in a competition, and I was kind of just like, okay, that sounds nice, but I was like, I'll just do it. Like, to say I did it. Just like, I'm under 18. This is great. Give me a little bit self-confidence. Do something I've never really done before or attempted really. And kind of just give it a shot.
When I started the process with the WBF to train for the WBFF competition, Ralph gave me the training plans and the nutrition plans. And when I looked at them, I said, anybody can do this. This is totally doable. What I liked mostly about the nutrition plans was that he worked with me. The first question that came out of him was, well, what do you like so that we can incorporate it in your diet? And that completely turned me on to the process because he never restricted me from eating anything. And as far as the training plans, I wasn't spending 2 hours at the gym. It was something that was very, very conducive to my lifestyle. I'm a mom of 2 kids and I work full time. So he made it fit very nicely in my work schedule.
I expected the eating to be much more difficult than it was. I really did not ever find it that difficult. Now that I'm 2 weeks out, obviously, of course, it's a little more difficult. But in the beginning, and for the last few months, it's been okay. I've gotten to eat rice. I love rice. Ground beef. I love ground beef. It hasn't been that hard.
Well, definitely it requires a lot of discipline and commitment. It's pushed me past my own comfort zone, which is something that I constantly coach in my classes, and I encourage people that take my classes. So it's something that I felt like I personally wanted to do that in my own life. And for me, doing this competition would be pushing myself beyond my comfort zone. And, it's doable. I think the biggest thing is just deciding, making a personal decision to either do it or not do it, and it worked out.
I've seen other friends go through other federations, for bodybuilding federations, and the level of training and the food seemed really extreme. But luckily, the way that Ralph did it made it really sustainable. I wasn't starving. I wasn't eating just lettuce all the time. I actually ate carbs and pizza. But of course, following a plan that was best for me and my body and my goal. People don't realize that you really need to think about where you are and what your goal is in order to be successful in a really sustainable way. It didn't have to be extreme. I also didn't have to be at the gym 2 hours a day and do an unseen amount of cardio all the time. So that was awesome.
The commitment at the beginning started more so of a physical commitment of wanting to lose the weight. I never looked at each day of what I'm going to do in a month or what I'm going to do in 6 months. And I took day by day because that's how much I struggled with it, because I never worked out before. It was all new to me. It was intimidating. So I took one day at a time. And as those days added up and those days progressed, I felt a sense of belonging in a community of women, men supporting one ultimate goal, and it turned out to be so much more.
So I had never done any fitness competitions before or anything close to a fitness competition. All I ever did was work out 4 or 5 days a week, if that, and that was it. When I first started on this journey, I was not in amazing shape. I was actually a little bit disappointed because I had been working out for a while, but my body always looked the same. I had a baby a couple of years prior to starting prepping for this show, right? So I was at this point where I had been working out, but I saw very little difference in the way that I looked, if any. And I was kind of in a mom rut. I was just doing everything for everyone around me. I was doing everything for my new kid, and I was just taking care of the house and taking care of my family. And I honestly felt pretty ran down and lost in terms of who I was and how I was just getting through my days. And the way that I looked was definitely something I was not happy with. You're already going through the motions in so many ways, and then to look in the mirror and not love what you see is takes another little chunk away from everything else that you're already feeling. So I was not in a good place physically.
During my first prep of my first show, one of the things that I discovered was, that I really like to go to the gym. I really like to work out. And I also really like to feel good about myself. And that was something that I did struggle with for a while. But through that, I was able to be yeah, I feel good. I should do this more, So I guess that was one of the main things that I realized.
When I started the process, the beginning of my journey to compete with the WBFF, I saw what I looked like before, and I saw what I looked like afterwards, before I stepped on stage. And I was so impressed with my results. I was so impressed with the way that I looked and the way that I felt, that it has given me eagerness to come back and do it, because I just feel amazing when I'm on that stage. I look at myself and I said, you know what, I put in so much work that I deserve to be up there, and I just want to do it again.
I expected the eating to be much more difficult than it was. I really did not ever find it that difficult. Now that I'm 2 weeks out, obviously, of course, it's a little more difficult, but in the beginning and, for the last few months, it's been okay. I've gotten to eat rice. I love rice. Ground beef. I love ground beef. It hasn't been that hard.
One of the hardest things about this process is the time that it takes to do it well. Meal planning and the workout. Just feeling drained, obviously, from my normal routine, my day-to-day stuff, my kids, my work. And then to add to it, this is kind of like a job in a sense.
One of the things that I wish people would realize when it comes to committing to a competition is that there's no such thing as not having enough time. You always make time and you prioritize your day based on what it is that you want to accomplish. Also, some misconceptions are that this process can tend to be selfish. Spending time on your food, spending time on the way that you look, spending time working out. And the way that I look at it is, if you are spending time doing the things that not only physically make you feel good about yourself, but also mentally make you feel good about yourself and give you that confidence, it's going to trickle into other areas in your life. And so while it may seem selfish to a lot of people to spend so much time or to be really committed to this kind of goal, you're actually able to be a better person, which means that you're able to serve others even better and even more.
When I started the process, I felt that I was going to come in and I was probably going to lose 15, 20 pounds, and I was going to make some new friends and hope, and I prayed and tried to have faith that the process would stick with me longer. And as that progress started going, I started seeing how I was stronger. I started seeing friendships. I am a strong believer through this process a year later that we are not meant to do life alone, and we need to let go and stop trying to control things that we don't know anything about. We need to allow people in our lives that do have that knowledge and that experience and are able to provide that support to get us to the next level. And the last year, it's been all about that.
So when I first decided to compete for the very first time, I wanted to find a show that gave me, on the schedule, that gave me enough time to get ready for it, but not too much time, because I felt like if I gave myself too much time, then I would probably fall off, in the middle of that somewhere. So at the time, we found a show that was 6 months from that point. But there was a show a year from that point that I really wanted to do. So even though I was prepping for a show that was 6 months away and I was doing that show that was 6 months away, I knew that I was already kind of planning on doing the one after that too.
One thing that I wish people would know is that, I guess really anyone can do it. Sounds kind of like cliche, but being so young and thinking, I have my whole life ahead of me to do whatever I want to do. Or being like, I'm young now, let me live in the moment, and then maybe I'll focus on myself because I want to have fun or whatever it is. But I kind of just wish people would be like, I have this going on, or I have this going on, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or making really a lot of excuses. I think that, to stop making those excuses and that, just focus on it, and then it'll all play out the way that you want it to.
What surprised me the most during this process was how easy it came to me to do it. I never for 1 second thought that it was too difficult to do. It was very realistic and it was very doable. From the training plans to the eating plans, everything was totally doable. And if I ever felt like I wanted to eat something different, I just had to talk to Ralph and he would change it around. It was very simple and he was very easy to work with.
You have to be prepared. I mean, you have to prepare your food because then it will interfere. But as long as you prepare your food, you have it with you, it was fine. And make time for your training and make time for your eating.
I mean, you just have to want to do it for yourself. I think as a mom, we often put ourselves on the back burner, and it's also kind of expected. It's almost like a mom guilt that we have, that if we do something for ourselves, we feel bad about it, and we're not giving enough time to like our kids or whatever. So I think, it's just deciding like you're your own person and you just have to want to do it for yourself, aside from the other responsibilities and roles that you have.
The food I expected was going to be the most challenging, only because I am not a cook. I'm more of like an online orderer. So I thought cooking. I also realized I was probably going to have to eat a lot more than I actually was eating, and that was kind of scary. Thinking about actually reframing the misconceptions of this food is bad and this food is good, and it's just all food is food. And if you do it the right way, the results can really be amazing. But that mindset, and since I didn't have the actual results in front of me when you start, it was really hard to see that. But trusting in the process and obviously having a really great coach makes you realize that those misconceptions are completely bogus.
One of the aspects that I thought was going to be the hardest for me was the amount of food that I was being asked to eat, as I was under eating, and it was amazing to me that I was under eating and I was overweight. However, through the process I've learned that I can eat all the carbs. I can have white rice that as a Hispanic means so much, and the wheat bread, and there's so many things, so misconceptions of what you can and cannot eat, and I've been able to learn so much, and I thought that was going to be the most difficult.
Oh my gosh, so many misconceptions. Everything, I think, from the food to the training to everything that goes into competing. I thought for sure that my food was going to be crazy restricted, that I was not going to be able to eat most things that I liked. I thought that I was going to have to go to the gym for a couple of hours a day, do a bunch of cardio, do a bunch of targeted exercises. I've never really been a gym person. I don't like the gym, believe it or not. So I've always been more into the group classes and the music and that full body training. So for me, I thought, oh gosh, now I'm going to have to go to like the gym and do, sit there and just do biceps for a whole time. And those were, I think, like my biggest misconceptions, that I was going to have to do like what gym people do and like competitors do, like cut out all this food and do all this work. That the work didn't scare me. I was willing to put in the work, but I think it didn't appeal to me. Like it's not something that I really looked forward to because it was not what I was doing at the time.
So during my prep, one of the most challenging things for me was to like get out of my own head, because in my head I was like, I don't know, like there's so many women out there that are like doing this and they're fully committed, and for me, I'm like, I don't know if I'm like a competitor, like I don't know if I'm an athlete, like I've always loved sports. I've always tried to get on some school team or whatever. But I just never in my head really connected that I could achieve something like that. And something that like I kind of struggled with was like getting in my own way, not really believing that I could. And that's something that I'm still trying to work on, but just getting in my own head, talking myself out of things. That's something that I realized during my prep that I can, get away from and focus on myself and getting better.
Some of the things I discovered during this process were, when I first had reached out and spoke to Lais, I said, Lais, I've done a lot of work with myself, my confidence, just inside my own mind and my mindset, but my body didn't match what was in my head. and I needed to do something. So what I've discovered was that my body is amazing. It can do wonderful things as long as I set my mind to it.
I do feel better about myself. I think you learn a lot about yourself through this process, and so I learned that I can definitely rise to the occasion. I can push myself a little harder, dedicate time to where it really matters, having more structure to my life, prioritizing things that will advance me as a person. Maybe before I was giving my time to things that didn't really matter. So it was good in the long run, definitely, to do this.
I've always worked out in some way, shape, or form. But something that's been really surprising is the strength that I've been able to gain. So being able to lift heavier, run faster or longer, being able to do a burpee, those things were things that I just couldn't do a year ago. And so that strength and just the physicalness of the training has been surprising, but also really, really awesome.
I think one of the hardest things that I thought that I wasn't going to be able to do was the amount of food that I was told to eat. I was under eating, and in my mind, how can I be under eating if I'm overweight? And I've just learned so much in the past year, and I didn't think that I could eat carbs, 3 or 4 times a day, and whites. I thought it had to be brown, and I thought it had to be wheat, and so I really thought that was going to be a really tough situation of eating that much food.
So I learned a lot during my first prep. I think more so. You learn during every prep, but I think the first one you learn the most. I would say that the one thing that I learned during my first prep was that confidence has nothing to do with the way that you look. I always thought, once I achieve this body and once I look this way, I know that I'm gonna feel better about myself. And I know that I'm not gonna look in the mirror and be like this run-down mom with these dark circles and this crazy hair I haven't washed in 3 days. I know that once I have abs and I can see a different me, that I'll be good. And it has so little to do with that, I think, once you go through the process, and so much more to do with how much you learn about yourself and all the things that you don't do because you're not supposed to, or that you do because you have to. When you show up for you like that, there's just something that changes inside of you that is so much more valuable to self-esteem and to self-confidence than the abs or the arms. Don't get me wrong, those are great, that is why I think most people start, and a lot of times that does become what the journey is about, is achieving that next look. But during that first prep, that internal transformation that you go through is just beyond what you can imagine unless you go through it, and it has nothing to do with your physical look. Besides the body, I think that something that you can get out of this experience is just being happy. It's such a different and new feeling, feeling happy with the things that you're doing, the way that you look, how you feel about your personality, the person that you're becoming, the discipline, the structure, or however you approach a prep or a situation or something as different and unique as competing. I think that just the overall feeling of everything at once is pure happiness, and I feel like that's something that wouldn't even cross someone's mind. I could feel confident, I could have a nice body, I could feel good about the way that I look, but there are some people that feel that they look good, but they're just not happy. So I think that even if I'm not 100% confident, I am happy with the work that I put in and the situation that I'm in, and I'm happy that I have been able to push myself in order to do something that I would have never thought of before.
I really do believe that more people should experience this because you owe it to yourself. This is an amazing experience for yourself. It gives you confidence. It'll show you what you're capable of doing. And for me, that was what I felt. I said, wow, I have 2 kids and I was able to transform my body that way. Anybody can do it.
I think every woman should do it. Especially moms who, it's really, for what it does to your confidence, what it does to you, just to teach you what you can do, especially if you've gone through things before. I suffered horrible postpartum depression with my pregnancies, and I have a special needs daughter as well. But it's just, it's just made me realize how amazing and what I can do, what I'm capable of, and how strong I am when I thought I was so weak.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know if easier than I thought. Easier in the sense that I didn't know what to expect preparing for something like this. And obviously, I think this is the beginning of a journey, so it's the time and the dedication, there probably could be more that I could do to get to where I want to be. But it made it more like approachable, the whole process. It didn't feel like so out of reach, which I thought I would have to do crazier things, but it seemed to like mesh really well. It was just more about like getting the time and the discipline and the plan.
If you do it the right way and you have the right coaches and you have the right guidance, this is not something that takes over your life and just makes your life miserable. This is a process that can add to your life. And so if you're someone that wants to make more time to work out, but you have all these excuses, when you have a goal like this, there's no room for excuses. You just have to get it done. And again, like I said earlier, you don't need to commit to 3 hours of working out every day or eating tilapia and broccoli all the time. You just really need to set a plan. You need to be disciplined. You need to be obviously focused on the end goal, but that doesn't mean that it takes over your life, because what you gain from the process, confidence, clarity maybe on your life, inspiration and inspiring others to maybe choose a healthier lifestyle is what really can happen from that. And so you also kind of don't know until you commit to doing it. So it's one of those things where sometimes, especially at the beginning, you have to just trust the process, like Coach says. And you may not see it at the beginning, but if you are just committed and you're consistent, it really does pay off.
I think the misconception that has stuck with me, that I've thought over the years, that people, you're almost instilled to believe that you can't have certain foods when you're on a plan. And I don't like to refer, a lot of people ask me, when are you going to stop doing the diet, or when are you going to stop weighing your food? And I think they need to realize, and the way my opinion of it is, it's a plan, and it's a plan that I've chosen for my life. And the misconception is that, you can diet and lose all the weight, and then you can go back to eating all the foods you were before. But that's not what I've learned in the past year. And going forward, I know that I can enjoy all sorts of foods and not eliminate a certain category of food just to be able to maintain a healthy and physical endurance to be able to work out every day.
When people are looking from the outside, they need to consider a few things. A lot of times when people are in a place that they're not content with, whether it's physically or emotionally or in their relationship or in any aspect of their life, I think that they don't realize how badly they need that change. I think we're all just so used to going through the motions that we kind of disregard just how important it is to make certain shifts in your life. I think that a lot of people should realize that you need to analyze your life and your decisions and the people around you constantly. And you need to see where it is that there's a gap that needs to be filled. And on the other side, there are a lot of people that look at this experience from the outside and think, there's no way that I could do that, right? Like, there's no way that I could look like that. There's no way that I could get on stage and be in a bikini. Like, I never imagined. I'm so shy. I never imagined having the courage to get up on a stage, do anything, let alone in a bikini and pose around like a model. Like, there's no way that's happening. So from the outside, I think those are the two main things. Not realizing that you probably need to do something for you or change something in your life, or realizing that you do, but looking at it like that's impossible for you. And it's really not impossible for anybody. It's completely attainable, and anyone can do it as long as that's something that they're willing to work for and go for it.
When I started, I was kind of just in the mindset of just doing it, not really trying to be the best that I could be. It was more like, let me just check this one thing off my bucket list of just getting it done. Stepping on stage in bikini, that's all cool, but I felt like, I realize now that I was a little disconnected from that for my first competition. And, I thought, I'm probably going to have to eat like asparagus with like tuna, and I hate tuna. I don't like the smell of it. I'm probably going to have to eat like raw eggs and stuff. Like, I hate eggs. Like, I just had this weird mindset, I was going to have to be in the gym for who knows how long. Considering the way that I look, this is at the beginning. Considering the way that I look, I'm gonna be like in there forever, have to eat like cold turkey, whatever. And I was just like not down for that. And even though I was living with my coach and someone that had already done 2 competitions, it's just so crazy to me to think a certain way, even though I'm surrounded by something completely different, something completely out of the ordinary for what people perceive competing to be. And I just never connected in my brain whatever she's doing, I could do too. It was very, like I said, disconnected from reality.
It's hard when you're a mom, any mom. I'm a special needs mom, but that makes it just, I think, a little bit harder for me with friends. So I've met other women that want to do things that I do, and that's been really nice for me.
Well, thankfully, I try to eat healthy overall, but I think what was challenging for me was the discipline to eat a certain amount of meals in the day, because actually I think I wasn't eating enough before, or I was eating big meals and not spacing it out enough. So it was just the portion, and it actually gave me more energy, and it gave me a better, well-rounded nutrition across the board.
So obviously, when someone starts this process, you think you want an awesome body, right? Let's be real. But I don't think I really understood how much that inner confidence was also going to be a huge part of it. So it's not just about having great arms or great abs. It's also feeling like I'm invincible, feeling like because I was able to commit to such a difficult goal, or so people think that it's so difficult, you just feel like a badass. And that was unexpected. So the confidence, I believe in myself way more than I did a year ago. I know that I deserve way more than maybe what I've settled for in the past. You also meet people that are like-minded that you just, had it not been for this experience, you would have never met before. And that's truly priceless. And also being a diva, and I don't mean it in I'm all that and you're no one, but in the sense of taking care of yourself, taking pride in who you are physically, but also inside of you. Those are things that I didn't realize I was signing up for when I said I was going to do the WBFF with Ralph and Lais. So the confidence, the glam, the friendships, the connections that you make are things that you just don't really realize you were missing so much until you notice how much value they're now adding into your life.
I think the biggest thing that I would love to encourage other women and give them a sense of knowing that they're all capable. We're all capable. We're created equally, and there's nothing that I can do that somebody else can't do. It's a matter of prioritizing your life and your schedule and knowing not to take a seat back. You can be a wife, you can be a mother, you can be a sister. That doesn't mean you take the burner and sit on the sidelines and not care for yourself. And it's just making that time and knowing that you're worthy to experience life for yourself as well, and still be that mom and still be that wife. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. A lot of people feel that they don't have the time, or they don't, the kids come first. And absolutely my kids came first. But it's an hour a day that makes such a difference in your journey and in your life.
I discovered that I'm I discovered that it doesn't matter how you are. I was always like, well, this is how I am. Like, I'm very shy, or I'm very controlling, or I'm very this, right? I discovered it doesn't really matter how you are. You get to pick how you want to be. So I looked at people who did photo shoots and who did shows and who were behind the camera doing something like this all the time, and I was like, oh my God, I wish. Like, I can never do that. Like, that's just not me. And through that journey and through that process, being forced to get out of my comfort zone, but, even though I was forced, I still went for it. And not getting in my own way and allowing myself to have those experiences and to really push through some of my limitations that were really just in my mind, I was able to completely change who I was in a lot of ways. I was able to completely change things about myself that I didn't necessarily like, that were holding me back. And that is probably one of the biggest things that I got from it that really surprised me.
So, on my journey to adulthood, if there is, at least maybe just one thing that I wish that I could just keep going, is that even if I decide not to compete anymore, it's that, I just keep going with changing my lifestyle. I'm very used to eating a bunch of junk food or never really working out. Like, I had that misconception, that disconnection. I just kind of wish that I keep going with, a healthy lifestyle. I guess whatever you could call healthy. For me, what is healthy is regularly going to the gym, eating a right amount of food, eating the right kinds of food, and still enjoying the things that I love. I have such a sweet tooth that it's something I can't really get rid of. But just enjoying all the good things in life, but still taking into consideration, health and just creating an overall fitness, lifestyle, goal, dream, Pinterest board all for myself in my head.
I am looking forward to continue to seeing the changes in my body that I see every day, and excited for not even show day, just the day before, for our photo shoots, all my glam, to get all dressed up, and show day.
Well, we all need guidance and we all need a plan. It's definitely something that I encourage people to do all the time. And so by doing this, it's an opportunity for you to, tap into yourself and find that person that, maybe you're afraid to approach. So it's a guide, and it's something that, unleashes the person you really want to be, but you're just not sure how to get there. So by doing this process, it allows you to do that. And it's a great thing. You learn a lot about yourself, and you come out, and it's like a happier, better version of who you are.
I think the number one thing is that this experience is not impossible. It is possible for anyone. It's possible for moms. I've seen it. Girls on my team are moms, and it's amazing. It's possible for any professional, no matter what you do for a living. And it's something that, it's like one of those experiences that no one could ever take away from you, ever. And so the belief that that's too hard, or that's not achievable, or I'll never get there, you won't get there in a week. Obviously, we all want instant gratification, but if you're super consistent, truly the transformations that I've seen have been incredible. And so I just wish that people would realize that it's not so far-fetched for them to achieve. And I also hope that people can understand that it's not just about the physical body. It's also about the mental, just the confidence that comes from it. So it's the whole package. It really does work on the whole package. It's not just about the abs, although those are great.
Of all the milestones that I've hit in the past year, with the support of Coach Ralph and Lais, there have been many. I was taught, and I learned how to appreciate the small ones as well as the large ones. But about a month ago, I participated in a photo shoot with the girls that were competing at the gym, and the sense of accomplishment and being surrounded by the people that were the very ones that pushed me from day one was just an incredible feeling, that I was able to lose an enormous amount of weight and stand in front of a camera and feel confident and to feel that I belong to something much bigger, and that's my gym family.
I feel the same way after every show. I'm going through to my 5th one, and after every show I felt the same way like I felt my first one. I need to bring other people to experience this. I need to have other women experience this because it's so life-changing. From the moment you decide to do it to the moment you step off that stage, that whole journey is just so, it transforms you inside and out. And I always feel every time after I do it and I get off stage and I'm kind of like decompressing over the weekend, I'm like, gosh, there's got to be a way to bring so many other people to experience this. So everyone needs to experience this at least once.
I guess one thing that I know that I really could say is that there's literally nothing else like it. Like, it's such a different experience. It's like an out-of-body experience. Like, there's nothing else that could just give you such a different perception about such a confusing world. Like the world of like health and fitness and nutrition is such like a big confusing world that literally like I couldn't even figure out, even though I had someone else that gave me life, knows a lot about, and I still struggled to make that connection. But I think that it's just such a different experience. You can learn so much. And like, it just feels so good, to feel good about yourself. Feels good to feel good. And I think, a lot of people, they struggle with thinking that they could be happy, they could feel good overall. And I think that that's one thing that so hard for me to express, but I feel so genuine about, like feeling good about the way that I am, my overall being.
My consistency with my food. I am very proud of how I was able to stick to my menus by weighing my food, drinking my water. I did it, I wasn't always perfect, but I did a lot of the work. Any woman would be surprised about what they're capable of. I think that all women judge themselves too much and we're so hard on ourselves. And I think that you just got to go for it, do it, go for it, try something new and get uncomfortable, and you're going to be amazed with what you can do.
So the thing I'm looking forward to the most with this event is just being on stage. I think that, all the hard work and every day in and day out, all the workouts and the meal prepping and all that, it's just coming to fruition, and it's an opportunity to celebrate all that hard work. It's nice to not always be in workout clothes and sneakers or barefoot and all sweaty. So, as a mom too, I don't usually go out and dress up. So I think that's going to be exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that and being around other really amazing people.
So I wish people would understand that it's not just about the physical. It's also about the confidence, the inner strength that you get. It's not just about the abs. So I could probably say that in my entire life, I have probably never worn a bikini in public. At the beach, always with a cover-up. And so I'm actually terrified / super thrilled of the fact that there is no cover-up allowed in this competition. And so to be able to stand there showing off the hard work, and doing something that I have literally, not just the process I've never done before, but I have literally never worn a bikini in public ever. So I'm really excited about getting over that major life fear. I'm much better at walking in heels now.
I think through this process, I think others should take some time, evaluate why they started, where they see themselves going, and knowing that trying to control every aspect of your life alone is not going to work. I'm a strong believer in that life is meant to be done with others and in relationships and in communities, and we are to build one another. And I I try to come into the gym every day and encourage everyone that's around me to the best that I can. I'm not a professional, but I believe so much in what this last year has done for me as an individual, as a mother, as a wife, and as a professional, that I want to share it with everyone, because what I feel, the energy is just amazing.
Oh my gosh. The one thing that I'm looking forward the most to, there we go, has got to be being backstage, in my glam, in my suit, meeting everyone, hearing everyone's like different stories, seeing the different ages, just kind of feeling like everyone together, being with my team, sharing that experience together, taking a lot of Instagram pictures, posting a lot of videos, because I know for my first one, I didn't really do that. I kind of slacked a little. But this one, I feel so much more sure of myself that I can't wait to just like spread good vibes everywhere, and then also to eat after. Like can't wait to like eat everything. Good.